Everyone, state of Idaho has announced what broadband operators in their state will be getting their share of $120 million from the Capital Projects Fund. We'll be right back with the details. Thanks for joining me. Rick Husey here with Broadband Deployment News. So back, I think it was May, the Commerce, let's see, this is ARPA. So yeah, I guess the Commerce Department announced who would be getting some funds in Idaho, and I think Delaware was announced at the same time. And I actually reported on that back then and talked a little bit about it, but we didn't know who the operators were. And I just saw this story on Telecompetitor that provides a few more details. So that pointed me to some information on the Idaho website. So I want to look at that real quick. So you see here, Idaho formally announces $120 million in broadband funding. They issued a formal announcement last week about $120 million in broadband grant funding awarded through the Idaho Capital Projects Fund, and this is ultimately was back from the U.S. Capital Projects Fund, which is under ARPA. Telecompetitor reported on the awards in early November, I guess it was. So we offer some additional details in today's post. Comcast, Ziply Fiber, and 13 other entities will take home a combined $120 million and are expected to connect 30,000 locations. So that, when you do the math, works out to about $4,000 per location. Decisions were made by the Idaho Broadband Advisory Board. So 4,000 is that's not a lot, and you think about Idaho probably being some farmland and maybe some remote areas. 4,000 doesn't seem like much. Now there's some wireless operators in here, so that may have something to do with that average of $4,000 there. So it's not all fiber, or maybe these wireless operators were doing fiber, a good portion of the way. So it'll be a combination of fiber and fixed wireless. I'm not sure totally. 7 of the awardees were counties. So I thought it was interesting in that this was kind of mixed between different types of operators. So again, 7 of them were counties, including 4 that awarded $10 million or more. The other awardees were broadband providers. The broadband provider slated to get the most funding is Intermax, which will take home 3 awards for a total of nearly $13.8 million. The company was founded in 2001 and uses a combination of fiber and fixed wireless. The second biggest amount is going to Ziply Fiber, $11.3 million. They won 2 awards. Comcast won the third largest amount, and they're taking home close to $9.9 million. Other broadband providers winning funding include 2 long-lived companies that can trace their roots back over 50 years ago when they started out as local telephone companies, Custer Telephone Cooperative and MyFiber. Also among the winners were several newer local companies that offer service using fixed wireless, fiber, or a mixture of the two. Eligible areas were those lacking service at speeds of 100 by 20. Awardees are expected to deploy service at speeds of at least 100 by 100, so 100 symmetrical. And there's some quotes in here that you can read. And I linked to this and a couple other things in the description of the video. Funding for the broadband grant program came from the Federal Capital Projects Fund. The awards exhausted the $120 million that was awarded to the state to support this awards program, which represented 93% of the total CPF dollars allocated to the state. So they took 93% of their funds, capital project funds, was this $120 million going towards this list of broadband providers. There's a link here on Telecompetitor that shows the organizations, the counties and whatnot, but there's also a link on this site. So I linked to this as well. So this is the Idaho broadband site. So you can see here, if you click here, you get the list of folks that won, the organizations that won. And there's a few other things on here. So these are the organizations that are taking the money home. So again, you got Custer Telephone. Again, they got almost $4 million there. You got Comcast, Idaho County, White Cloud Communications. I'll look at a couple of these to see who they are. Lincoln County, Camas County. Then you got Ziply Fiber, a couple there, here and here. And then you got Lata County. Intermax Networks, again, they had a couple of awards. Looks like 3 awards on here for different places. Canixu, looks like that's fiber for speeds up to 2.5 gigs. MyFiber, again, that was one of the ones that's been around a while, co-op. Gooding County, Intermax again, Madison, Intermax, Jerome County, and Fibercom. So that list is on this page here. Also on this page, you got a couple of things. You got, I didn't pull it. I looked at it, but I'm not going to show it here. But you've got all of the applications right here, and that is it says a PDF. Let's see the awards. View the awards. Oh, these are the scores. This is a spreadsheet. So you can look at how all of these were scored. So you can see how they, it's very transparent. You can see how they were scored and who scored what. Then you've got the view submitted Idaho. You got the applications here. That's a PDF that you can view. You can look at the challenges. So, for example, on the challenges, again, you can see what was challenged, and you can see some responses here. It looks like. So, anyway, that's might be very interesting for those of you that are trying to kind of get a look behind the scenes of what's going on some of these awards, and again, the applications, the challenges. So I want to take a quick look at two of the operators that were mentioned here. White Cloud. This again is I think a fixed wireless for the most part, and not cheap. I was looking at, where is it here? If I go to networks and internet, actually, is this where it was? Yeah, networks and internet. So they've got several different plans. So they've got Apex 200 by 50. So their Apex does not reach what they're going to be required to do with these funds. So they're obviously going to have to up their game here. See, they have anything else faster? 10? No. See, they go down way down to 10 by 2 for $55 a month. So not cheap. So I'm assuming, I didn't look at the challenges. I didn't look at their application. I'm not sure if they're saying, hey, we're going to be able to do 100 by 100 minimum and have reasonable pricing. But right now I'm looking at, again, 200 by 50 for 150 a month, 100 by 50 for 120 a month, 50 by 10 for $100 a month. So, for less than 100 a month, you can get gig symmetrical in parts of the country. So obviously this is very different here. Now, this is in an area probably where a lot of these people are thrilled to be able to get 100 by 50 or maybe even 50 by 10, because maybe that was not available any other way. They could only have maybe DSL at these speeds, and maybe even not that, who knows. Then you've got their peak, $75 a month for 20 by 5, and then you see it drops from there, and as we were talking, it goes down to here. Custom speeds up to a gigabyte. Please call for pricing. Well, I'm not surprised. If you're going to pay 150 a month for 200 by 50, I don't know what you'd be paying for a gig at here. So again, they may have to be adjusting a lot of this if they're going to be taking these funds and providing services there in Idaho using this capital projects fund money. And then there was also Intermax. I looked at them, and they are not cheap either. So this is Intermax wireless internet. So they got wireless internet and fiber internet. So it could be that they're going to be doing just fiber with these funds, or maybe they'll be doing a combination. But if we look at the wireless internet pricing, again, not cheap. Premium, call for pricing, 100 meg downloads, and then 136 per month for 50 meg, $25 or $69 per month for 25. So again, not cheap. And if you look at the fiber, also not cheap. And so we're looking at their premium. So they do list their premium, 600 meg downloads for 104 per month. So if you can get, obviously if you can get fiber in your area, you're going to opt for that. So 600 meg for 104, 136 per month for a gig. You can get 300 meg for 83. So again, not cheap. Be interesting to see if their prices come down as they're getting these dollars to fund the network. They don't have to worry about having to repay a lot of that. So it's going to make their ROI a little bit easier. So this is probably a matter of no competition in the area, supply and demand, and the cost involved in these areas, because they are difficult to provide services to, which is why you've got a company stepping up to do it, but they've got to charge higher prices to be able to cover their costs. So now that they're getting funding in these areas, hopefully Intermax and White Cloud can reduce their pricing, at least in those areas where they're getting funding. So we'll have to see about that. But shows you the challenges that you have in these rural areas where you've got folks where it's not, it's not like serving a urban or suburban area where you've got lots of homes. So you've got a lot less infrastructure that you've got to put in to reach a lot of customers. And then your maintenance, that's the other thing, is once you get your infrastructure in, you've got to worry about maintenance. Because if you've got to drive several miles from customer to customer versus scheduling and handling a couple of issues that you've got in a particular area that might have to drive, like a mile to get several customers. Or if you've got an outage, think about that. If you've got an outage and you've got 10 customers out, those 10 customers could be over 20 miles versus, all on a block if you've got some kind of a storm damage or something like that. So It is very expensive to provide service to these areas and also to maintain it. So we can see the high pricing there again. Hopefully that'll come down with these funds. So thanks for joining me today. Appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to our channel, click the subscribe button and click the bell to be notified when I'm live. Give me a like on the video if you like this video. See you next time. Bye-bye.